Sunday morning, the 26th of March, we received a call from the Highway Patrol about 7 a.m. that there was a piece of steel laying in the Missouri River Bridge eastbound at Rocheport, and found that one of the expansion joints eastbound in the driving lane between the end of the highway and the steel structure of the bridge had broken and actually tipped out of place. The joint had been so badly damaged that we didn't have any choice but to take the entire expansion joint out and replace it. And in order to do that, that was going to require a 24/7 lane drop, because once we broke the old one out, we had to keep it closed until we could get that put back in there.
Alan and I pulled in St. Louis Bridge due to the fact that they've done a lot of finger joints in their time. The Jeff City crew has done some, but to get this intense into a finger joint, we was wanting to stretch out and try to get a little bit more experience. So when these individuals come in, it seemed like it was a normal day to them. It wasn't really a huge surprise until we got into the deck itself. Once we get into the deck, you never know what you're going to get into when you're working on bridges. Every bridge is a little different. So this one here was actually a little different than all of us have seen before. How the setup was, how the finger plate was welded to the T-plate, how the T-plate was bolted to the angle plate. There was a lot of different parts in there than what we were used to seeing, all of us. So it was a good learning curve for every one of us.
Another challenge that we faced is just the sheer location of this occurrence. An expansion joint on a bridge like that limits our width. We have a barrier wall on both sides of that bridge wall, and when us working in one lane, it really squeezed traffic down a lot into that other lane. And because we had to tie the right lane expansion joint and left lane expansion joint together eventually, we had to work right out to and actually across the center line just a little bit. So there were some hours out there where we had traffic squeezed down to about a 12 to 13 foot total width that they could get through.
Working underneath high traffic, it's a lot like a war zone. There's a lot of traffic flying past you at all times. You always have to be on your guard, and you always have to be aware of what's going on around you, watching your coworkers. You don't only have to get the job done, but you also have to worry about the traffic flying by. We were dealing with tornadoes, we were dealing with hailstorms, heavy rains at times, so we had to come up with a contingency plan of how we're going to get everybody off the bridge, where we're going to have them go to, a safety plan of where everybody needs to go and stage if we did have that tornado come through. It wasn't very far away. That's where Columbia Shed and Boonville Shed both were keeping up with our lane drops, our weather conditions.
It takes a lot of toll on folks. There's a lot of work happening out there. It's a lot of physical activity. So, like I said, keeping enough people there that we can give each other breaks. And as far as we're aware, we only had one minor incident in the entire length of time we had that closed. It was a rear-end collision at the back of the queue, but it was minor, and we were able to clear that off the highway within 20 minutes and have both lanes open again.
The recent problems we had on the Rocheport Bridge on I-70 over the Missouri River is just another example of the problems we have with a lot of our bridges. They're old and worn out. It was designed to last 50 years, and it's currently 57 years old. It currently carries 34,000 vehicles per day, 8,000 of which are large trucks. The emergency repairs made by our crews were phenomenal to get the road back open to traffic, but we'd rather have those crews out performing preventive maintenance to keep good bridges good. This bridge is just another example of our old and worn out bridges. We have 866 poor bridges, and more are added to the list every day. It would cost about $160 million to replace the Rocheport Bridge today. That's $160 million we don't have, so we are going to do a $12 million patch-up project in 2019 to kick the can down the road. With inflation, in 10 years it will cost $215 million to replace the bridge. These are sobering numbers when you consider we have 866 poor bridges.